Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mind Tea, a podcast where we discuss sip-sized practical tools for meaningful living. I'm your host, Izzy Wan, a mindfulness teacher, tea ceremony host, hypnotherapist, and speaker. In today's episode, we're going to talk about technology to aid intention, not reduce it. I don't know if any of you guys have seen recently, but there is recent news around big tech companies like Meta and others being sued for designing social media platforms to be intentionally addictive. When I read that, I wasn't even surprised. I mean, no one's surprised. You're not surprised, right? We can feel it. We can feel that they're getting in our day-to-day tasks where we're so often searching for our phones, grabbing our phones at the earliest convenience. Whenever we get bored, any slight moment of silence, we reach for it. And I feel like they're only getting better at doing it, listening to our conversations and knowing what to suggest. I mean, my phone usage has gone up so much the last few months. Sometimes I'll open my phone for one thing and then I'll completely forget what I even opened my phone for in the first place, right? Like it's crazy how addictive these things have become. Now, obviously technology isn't something we can get rid of completely. It's just in our lives now. It's something that we live inside of. Even AI, it shapes how we think, how we spend our time, how we relate to ourselves, and even how comfortable we feel in silence. And the goal isn't to completely disconnect or remove it from our lives, of course, but if we can understand even a little bit of the design, then we can learn how we can use it more intentionally, which is what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to break down for you the psychology behind why social media is so addicting, why it gets us hooked so quickly, and what's happening when we keep reaching out for our phone, and then 4 tools to bring more intentional social media use to your life. Let's get into it. First of all, if you feel embarrassed by your phone usage like I do, I actually don't think our phone usage time is a reflection of weak discipline or laziness. Big tech platforms deliberately engineer experiences that capture our attention using neuroscience. The reason we keep reaching for our phones all the time is because of something called intermittent variable reward. It's a psychological principle where the increase in motivation from the anticipation of a reward is stronger when the reward is not guaranteed. So a really good example of this is in casinos. These slot machines don't pay out every time. They pay unpredictably. And that uncertainty really hooks our brain because you don't know when it's going to happen. So the curiosity is what keeps people pulling the lever again and again and again. And the same goes with other things as well, like dating apps or even just opening a box of chocolates, for example. If you don't know what you're going to get, it's that much more exciting. Our phones work in a very similar way. You open Instagram, maybe there's something interesting. Maybe there isn't. Maybe you've got a message from your crush. Maybe you've got a message from your worst enemy. But it's the maybe that keeps you checking again and again. Even things like refreshing your email, checking your WhatsApp, looking at your notifications, it's all built on the same loop. Cue, action, variable reward. And this taps into your brain's dopamine system. But dopamine is not often what we think it is. Dopamine is not just about pleasure. Dopamine is also about anticipation, the seeking. It's about the possibility of a reward. So every time you reach out for your phone, your brain is asking, what am I going to get this time? And that question is powerful enough to pull your attention away from whatever you're currently doing, eating your meal, spending time with family, spending time with friends. And that's why sometimes you pick up your phone without even thinking as well. It's not even a conscious decision. It's just a learned loop. Cue, action, variable reward. So that is just a brief snippet of a bit of the psychology that goes behind this. Of course, there's a lot more, but I'm not trying to give you guys a lecture today. I want to show you real tools that you can use to start integrating into your life today so you can use technology more consciously so that technology can help us be more present in the moment rather than taking us away from it. So really, the way to do that is about taking control of how we use it, right? And the first shift is setting intentional alarms. This is a really simple technique, but it has had a surprisingly deep impact on my attention. I first started doing this when I was going through a breakup, actually, because that's when the evenings are the hardest. Anyone who's gone through a breakup, I'm not sure if you can relate, but for me, the evenings felt really heavy and really quiet. The silence was so uncomfortable. I would reflexively reach for my phone to doom scroll. It was like a way of escaping whatever I was feeling in that moment. So I started setting an alarm at 8 p.m. every night because that's when I would spiral. And I would set this alarm 8 p.m. every evening titled, "How can I make this moment more special?" And the rule was I couldn't snooze this until I genuinely answered the question. At first, it felt a little bit forced, if I'm being completely honest, but eventually I started to really look forward to it. So even though I'm fine now, I don't feel depressed at 8 p.m. every night, but I still continue this habit because it was quite a nice little ritual for me to do. It creates this intentional pause in your day where you check in with yourself and this very moment. If you want to try this, it doesn't have to be 8 p.m. It can be in the morning even. It can be whenever you notice yourself reaching for your phone the most. Maybe there's a pattern in your days, maybe there's a pattern in your weeks, maybe it's a certain time that, at maybe 4 p.m., I always reach for my phone. That's when my phone usage is the highest. So that's when we can start setting these intentional alarms for ourselves. Another thing you can start to notice as well is, when am I reaching for my phone the most often? Because that can also give you some clues on what's going on internally for you as well, right? When I looked at my phone record and I was like, oh, it's always at 8 p.m. And then I clocked, that's when I feel loneliest. And then I could start putting these measures like the intentional alarms and other things like making sure that I'm cooking at that time, putting a nice playlist on, or making sure that I go for a walk at that time when I start spiraling, or even just facing the problem. But all of these are really good context cues for yourself. So now let's move on to our second shift. Our second shift to use technology more intentionally is to stop digital multitasking. Digital multitasking is everywhere. I pick up my phone, like I said earlier, to reply to one single message. And then little do I know, the next thing I'm doing is watching a fried potato recipe, watching Zendaya and Tom Holland getting engaged, watching a reel of a parrot having his haircut, and watching Elon Musk and Trump fight on Twitter, like everything, right? And that's so overwhelming for our brain, which is really bad at task switching. Every time we switch to a different task, we actually leave behind a residue in our attention. This is something that has been coined attentional residue. We can't concentrate on any task fully, and we end up with a lot of mental clutter in our heads, like having a lot of different browser tabs open, having unfinished tasks stay active in our minds and affect our performance throughout the day on tasks that we are currently working on. So our brains are really bad at task switching, and the way to work around this is, before I pick up my phone, I would start asking myself, what am I opening my phone for? And I only allowed myself to do that one thing in that moment, because even brief distractions reduce our working memory capacity, it lowers our focus, and it increases our cognitive load. So multitasking makes your mind feel a lot heavier than it actually is, or it needs to be. And what's interesting is that this doesn't just affect productivity, it affects how deeply you experience your day to day, because attention is the doorway to experience. Whatever you give your attention to is what you actually experience in the moment. When your attention is scattered, your experience becomes diluted. But when your attention is focused, even ordinary moments start to feel richer. Like even drinking your morning tea or your morning coffee or walking or having a conversation, it feels different when you're actually there for it. So if you want to try this, next time before you pick up your phone, just ask yourself, what are you using it for first? Okay, let's move on to the third shift, which is replacing doom scrolling with dream scrolling. Scrolling itself isn't the problem, it's what we're scrolling on. So what do I mean by replacing doom scrolling with dream scrolling? Well, for me, I started becoming more conscious of what I was consuming. And I noticed that a lot of the stuff on my current feed I wasn't actually enjoying. So what I did instead was to create a few different Pinterest boards that felt a lot more aligned with the life that I wanted to build. I would create Pinterest boards on interior design, my future house, places I wanted to travel to, food, outfits, creative ideas, mood, and aesthetics that I wanted to embody. And instead of scrolling through this random content, or every time I caught myself doom scrolling, I started to exit those apps and go on Pinterest and scroll through these boards instead, which made me feel feel so much better. And you can do this even without your Pinterest boards. You can just curate your Instagram feed, unfollowing accounts that make you feel heavy or behind, and following accounts that make you feel inspired, calm, expansive. Your feed is essentially your mental environment, and your brain is constantly updating its sense of what's normal based on what you repeatedly see. So if you're constantly consuming chaos, comparison, negativity, that really starts to feel like reality. But if you intentionally expose yourself to inspiration, instead of constantly being on comparison mode, you switch to creation mode. Another way you can do this is by just having a separate account. Say there's people who you don't want to unfollow, and I don't know, you don't want to create drama. You can create a totally separate account, following only the accounts that inspire you. I started off doing this when I started posting more psychology content. I actually had a quotes page, and I found that I was so much more drawn to this account instead because of the difference in the way that it made me feel. Every time I was on my main feed, I was seeing things about people who I really didn't care about. I was seeing random, disturbing snippets and reels that I didn't ask to see. And so I noticed that I would start going on my quotes page account so much more. So that's another way. And now let's move on to our fourth shift, which is decluttering your digital space. I didn't realize how much background noise my phone was generating until I really started to look at it and look at what I could clear out from it. Every notification, every unused app, every open tab, it all adds up. So I started to clear things out more regularly. I would literally sit for an hour to organize my apps. I would delete any unused apps or pictures, or even just simplify my home screen, moving my main important apps to the front and then putting everything else on like the second or the third page. Also, for most of the day when I've used my phone too much, I'll put it on sleep mode. I would turn off my non-essential notifications. And doing all of these things, it's not fun. But when we start clearing everything out, our phone becomes so much less grabby. It stops constantly pulling at our attention, which makes it a lot easier to use it intentionally. Decluttering has psychological effects on us as well. Our brain registers visual chaos like physical chaos. It triggers the same stress responses in our amygdala. So simplifying your digital space also helps to reduce your cognitive friction. If you're feeling overwhelmed, then maybe it's time to start treating digital clutter like physical clutter. Some ideas that you can use are scheduling once a month to delete any apps that you haven't used for over a month, unsubscribe from any newsletters that you never read and you're not going to read, and removing accounts that you don't care about, archiving or deleting any photos that don't bring you joy, muting any non-essential notifications that you never check anyway. The fewer digital stimuli you have in your day-to-day trying to get your attention, the more energy, focus, and mental space you will actually have. It's like housekeeping, but for your devices. Alright guys, that is all I have for you today. To summarize today's episode, 4 shifts are: 1. Setting intentional alarms that keep you grounded. 2. Preventing digital multitasking by using your phone for one thing at a time only. 3. Replacing doomscrolling with dreamscrolling, aligning yourself with content that actually matters to you. 4. Decluttering your digital space, where less is more. Thank you for being here, guys, and if any of these resonated with you, let me know your key takeaways in the comments below. And if you guys have any other tips for this, it would be so great if you could share that with the rest of the audience in the comments below. If you took any value from this episode, I would be so grateful if you could do me a favor and take a moment to subscribe and rate the show, or share it with someone you love so more people can benefit from mindfulness. Until next time, keep steeping in wisdom, and don't forget to take a moment for yourself today, even if it's just 5 minutes.